Have you ever had a dream that you went outside to get in your car and your car was gone from the spot where you parked it? It was moved from one place to another. Well, we're going to talk about the meaning of transition dreams. So, what is a transition dream? Well, a transition is a change that's taking place in the dreamer's life. Some sort of change, whether naturally, spiritually, financially, is taking place in the dreamer's life. Also, it could be showing a move that the dreamer will undergo, whether it's a spiritual move or a natural move. It could represent movement in the dreamer's life. Also, it could be showing a time of transformation that's coming, spiritual transformation that's coming to the dreamer's life. It could also be speaking of conversion, or it could be talking about an adjustment that the dreamer is going to have to make. So transition dream. So as I mentioned, in the question earlier about the car being moved from one spot to another, we know that cars in a dream can represent calling, a ministry, a job, a vocation, a career, the dreamer's life journey. And so if you dream that your car was moved from one spot to another spot, this could be speaking of a time of transition where God is moving you from one place to a new place in life. So we're going to talk about transition dreams and how you can recognize a transition dream. All right. Number one, walking down a hallway. So walking down a hallway would represent moving or going through a space to get from one place to another place. We know hallways will take us from one room to another room, from one place in a house or building to another place in the house or the building. So this could be showing that the dreamer is going through a transition where changes are taking the dreamer from one place in their life to another place in their life. So dreaming of walking down a hall could represent a time of transition. Now, you can have a dream where you're walking down a very long hallway. In other words, you're looking down the hall and you don't even see where the hallway ends. Well, this would represent a long transition that's going to take place in the life of the dreamer. And it means that it's going to take quite some time for this transition or this move or this change to take place. Or you can have a dream where you're walking down a very short hallway. You see the end of the hallway, or you just take 2 or 3 steps and you're at the end, you're at the place, the room where you're going. So a short hallway would represent a short transition. The transition will be a short period and it won't take long at all. So walking down a hallway can represent a time of transition. Number 2, turning a corner. So you can have a dream where you're walking outside or walking inside, and you notice, you're very aware in the dream that you go around a corner, you turn a corner. So this could be showing or speaking of a change in perspective. The dreamer will have a change in perspective. They're going through a time of transition that will take them to a new place. This could represent also a change of behavior or attitudes, things like that. It all depends on the context of the dream. So going around a corner, turning a corner, can represent a time of transition. Number 3, a hotel or motel. So if you dream that you're in a hotel, this could definitely be speaking of a time of transition, because hotels are temporary dwellings. So it could represent a temporary stop in the dreamer's life. So now you can ask the question, I mentioned hotel, motel. Is there a difference between dreaming about a hotel as opposed to a motel? Well, there is if you are very aware in the dream that you're in a motel. If that stands out in the dream, then it does make a difference in the interpretation of the dream, as opposed to you being in a hotel. So if you're aware that you're in a motel as opposed to a hotel, that could be speaking of the dreamer's life calling. So a hotel will speak of the dreamer themselves, the dreamer's spiritual progress, transition that's being made in the dreamer themselves, changes that are taking place within the dreamer, whereas the motel will speak of changes that's taking place in the dreamer's life calling or the dreamer's life's journey. So it could be speaking of a particular, as we mentioned with cars, because a motel is where you would drive up right at the door of the room where you will be staying. So cars would speak of ministry, they could speak of a job, vocation, career. And so if you're aware in the dream that you're at a motel, then that would be speaking of the dreamer's calling in life, or their mission, or their ministry, or their job or career in life. So hotels speaks of the dreamer themselves, transformation that's going on in the heart or in the life of the dreamer. Motel speaks of the dreamer's calling or their profession or their ministry. Now that you know what they are, have you had any transition dreams? Leave them in the comments section. And if you're not a part of the Dream Team, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications. And if you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And don't forget to share with your family and friends. I'll talk to you next time.